Welcome to the delayed next instalment of the 101 most commonly misused GRE words provided by CrunchPrep, link in the description. And as I always say, I think this list is great for anyone studying the GRE, but also anyone just looking to improve their English, because these words are commonly confused and mistaken. And if you can master them, you're one step ahead of everyone else. Without further ado, let's get to the first of the 10 pairs I'm going to do today. Wonder versus wonder. For all of these, I'll give what I think is the difference, and then we'll check that against the actual explanation, so you can see my reasoning and their reasoning. For me, wander with an A means to walk about aimlessly. You're wandering around the park. You don't really have a clear direction. Wonder means to think about and be inspired by and to speculate on. I wonder what's for dinner. I wonder what I'm going to do when I'm older. Very different. One's a physical activity, to wander around, and one is a thinking activity, to wonder something. Let's see what they say. Wander is a verb and means to walk around in a casual way, whereas the other wonder, pronounced basically the same way, means to be amazed at something. I think wonder has changed a little bit. That's maybe the original definition, like to wonder and something being wonderful, but I think now it's become more parlance and slang, just to wonder about something, even something just normal and mundane. I wonder what's for dinner. It doesn't have to be something fantastical, but that was the origin of the word, so that's good to know. Okay, next pair. Bought versus brought. That's an easy one. If something is bought, you purchase it. If something is brought, you bring it along. You include it, you take it with you. What do they say? I bought the apartment, purchased it, versus brought. I brought you, I took some flowers from the market. It's the past tense of bring. Fairly simple. What about the next pair? Adept and adopt. So if you're adept at something, that's a good word to know for the GRE. It means you're skilled at that thing. I'm an adept hunter. I hope to be an adept test taker. Adopt is very different, even though there's only one letter difference. To adopt something is to take responsibility and take ownership of that thing. Obviously, there's the famous adoption of a child, but you can also say, I adopted a new hairstyle. I said, this is my new hair and I'm proud of it. So those are the two different ways you can think about the word. Let's see what they say. He is adept, skilled at abstract painting, whereas adopt means to take on a certain form, like the hair, or accept something or someone, like adoption. So two very different words there. Principle and principle. This is a great one, very commonly confused. Principle means first and foremost. I should say principle ending with an AL because they're pronounced in the same way. It's the principal objective. It's the top objective. Also, you might say the principal at a school, because that person is the top officer, the top teacher in the staff, the principal of the school. My principal purpose in life is to make loads of money. That's what some people might say. You're first and foremost. Whereas principle with an LE, pronounced the same way, is your abiding belief, a code that you try to live by. So if you don't live by that, you could say he's breaking his principles. Or if you do follow them, you might say she's just following her principles. Or it's just a matter of principle. It's just a matter of personal belief and ethical codes. Let's see what they say. Principle means important, okay? The unity of its people in a country's principal concern. I think it's a bit more than that, the definition. I think it's of utmost importance, top paramount importance. And for principle means a general rule. I think it's a bit more elevated than that. It's not just a rule, it's like a belief that you need to follow. Every man must have his own principles. It's deeper than that. Not just a rule that you tick off or a rule that you casually break. If someone breaks their principles, that's much more of a savage insult than just saying, oh, you broke a rule. So principle LE is deeper than that, I think. Let's get on to the next pair, ardent and arduous. Ardent is fairly simple. It means passionate. I'm an ardent admirer of you. I'm a passionate admirer of you, full of passion and emotion and feeling. Arduous means really hard and difficult. I always remember it as it's hard, right? Sounds like hard. It starts off with ARD, arduous. It's difficult, long, torturous. Okay, what do they say? Ardent is an adjective, it means intense emotion, yeah. Arduous is an adjective, it means grueling, difficult, straining, onerous. Studying for this test was such an arduous task. Great clarification there, and good to know both words. Ascent and assent is pronounced the same way, as you can see. Is it? Ascent, assent. Yeah, pronounced the same way, but two very different words. Ascent is like climbing up something. Usually a mountain, you might say he ascended the mountain. Not often you really talk about it in a different way, maybe ascending a hill or something. Assent means your permission. She gave her assent. He gave his assent. Gave permission, allowed it to happen, tolerated it. Yep, so they talk about ascending Mount Everest. And then they say the president expressed his assent on the new company policy, his agreement, his acceptance. It doesn't necessarily mean you're passionately in favour of it, just you're okay. I'm allowing it, okay. It's very like the word okay. Moving on, let's get to attain and obtain. This is the first one I would find a bit harder to distinguish. To attain something, what is the difference with obtain? Because both of them mean to get something. I think attain is more of like an achievement, like something a bit more abstract. He attained a top position in the company. It's not something physical that you grab, like an object. That's obtain. He obtained his passport from the officer. To grab it, to actually hold it, to be tangible, that's obtain. Attain feels to me, this is my definition, we'll check against the actual one. Attain feels to me like getting something that's not physical. So he attained the rank of captain. Let's see if I'm right on that. It means to gain something with effort. I attained this job. Okay? Obtain is a verb. It means to have something in possession. I obtained this rare coin. So I think I did a good job there because they don't actually clarify the difference. Whereas notice attained was of something non-physical, a job. Whereas obtained, the example they gave, was a rare coin. I don't know if that's a strict distinction between the two words, but it's a very great way of remembering it. And 99% of the time, that's how you use the two words. I attained my goal and I obtained my dream house. Time for the next one. Amoral and immoral. Very commonly confused, and some people just use them interchangeably now. Amoral means not having any morals, not believing in morals, basically. Not that you're doing something bad, it's just you don't even believe in morals at all. I'm amoral, or this subject matter is amoral. It's not to do with morals. Whereas immoral means actually bad. You're breaking a moral code. So someone who's amoral doesn't even believe there are such a thing as morals and immorality and morality. Whereas immoral is you're breaking a set of moral codes, you're being bad. As they say here, amoral means not having any morals, whereas immoral means having bad morals, not adhering to the ethical morals that are out there. So you might think they're basically the same, there's a slight distinction there. Abstruse and obtuse. Now here's an interesting couple of words. Abstruse means esoteric, mystical, hard to understand. Maybe mystical wasn't the perfect word there, because it's not something magical. It's more just abstract, difficult to comprehend, difficult to understand, intricate, complex. That's how I think about something being abstruse. You might describe a physics textbook as being abstruse, really difficult to understand. Obtuse means, what does that mean actually? Obtuse. I used to think that means stupid, to be obtuse, or slow to understand something, like dull. Is that right? Obviously there's an obtuse angle, which means greater than 90 degrees in maths. But to be obtuse, I think it means slow and dull, but let's check that. Lacking intellect. Okay, yeah, so close enough. Lacking intellect, or less politely, stupid. Obtuse people are hard to argue with. Okay, got it. So that leaves us with the last pair of chaotic and inchoate. Yeah, I guess they could be confused because the letters look similar, but they're very different. Chaotic, actually, are they very different? Chaotic means full of chaos, disorganized, confused, everything going on at the same time, no clear order to it, disorganized, riotous, cacophonous. Whereas inchoate means not fully formed, so not in an ordered structure, like newly born almost. More not yet reached a formal ordered structure rather than being completely disordered like chaotic. You could think of it as being in chaos but soon to be out of chaos. Inchoate. So it's vague at the moment, it's unclear at the moment, it's a bit confused at the moment, but hopefully as time goes by things will become ordered. Maybe an inchoate plan to escape prison. Like it's just bare bones, it's a bit confused at the moment, but we're going to work on it and make it happen. Whereas chaotic just means hopelessly confused, disorganized, riotous. That's how I would distinguish it. Let's see what they say. Chaotic means disorderly, exactly. I think it's a bit more extreme than that, like really disorderly. Like a chaotic riot. What a chaotic display of football, it says. No wonder they lost the game. Completely disorganized. Inchoate means imperfect, you see? It's moving towards perfection, but at the moment it's disordered. The young country suffered from inchoate democracy. Disordered, crazy now, but that's because it's a young country. Hopefully in the future, it'll get better. I'm quite happy with my explanations for this video, so if it helped at all, please do leave a like, and otherwise see you in the next video in this series.